There's a lot of my mind surrounding the concept of stress. And I tell you what, it's pretty hard to feel stressed out here in this kind of environment, in the forest. All of the noises and animals and everything is just in constant motion. And really, what is stress when you think about it? It is a fear that it's going to stop, that you won't have enough momentum to achieve the things that you are trying to get done, that the world outside will overtake you. You won't be able to run fast enough to catch up to it. Well, maybe the goal isn't to try to run faster. Maybe at a certain extent, you can't run faster. You can't pick up the speed. But maybe you can change the track that you're running on. You can change what you actually are expecting of yourself. Handling stress is a part of life, especially nowadays in a world where we are living in a environment where you have to control your stress. You have to get things done, and it's not survival in the sense of what it used to be, but it is survival on a certain extent. The fact that we have to go and make money and do all of these things, follow these laws, well, that creates a bit of stress that is put down on us. And we have to learn how to deal with that as humans. That's kind of where we are in this world. So how do we start handling stress, controlling it so that we minimize its effects that it has on us? One of the biggest things we can do is to actually figure out if the thing that we're stressing over is valid. Because yes, stress is a valid, helpful, beneficial feeling. It is there for a reason, but we have to understand, is it there for the right reason? Not everything needs to be stressed over. Not everything is all that important, and not everything that we want to achieve that is in front of us is actually needing that stress. Figuring out what is actually going to benefit you within a day, what actually needs your attention, and what I call revealing the monster, pulling the veil away from something that seems scary, and then you turn it into the basis of what it really is. Taking something from being this large, unsurmountable task into a few little actions that you can do that maybe only take 30 minutes, maybe only take an hour from your day. Is that really worth all of the stress, all of the fear that you created over this? Taking something and breaking it down into its individual parts is one of my favorite things. It's reverse engineering your life, reverse engineering things that seem unsurmountable. You can take an Olympic athlete and see what they achieved and break it down into daily actions. Nothing is as impossible as it seems. And it is actually the fact that the things that seem very impossible, very difficult, are just like the things that seem very simple. They are just actions being taken out. The things that seem more impossible, though, require more consistency with those actions. Maybe a more expansive set of actions, but at the end of the day, it is simply just doing things. It can't get any more complicated than that. You can break something down into its finest details. And once you are there, well, you have figured out what is the most simplest way I can tackle this. And this removes a lot of stress from your life, taking away all of these symbols of confusion where you are just sitting in the moment and creating an image of what this thing might actually be creating this monster, when it is a simple thing, when you can break it down into actions. And so I would recommend being very conscious of the moments in your life where stress is starting to creep up on you again, to where you feel that things are going a little bit on the wayside. Because once we start stressing, well, we try to cope with the stress. The stress comes in and we have to deal with that in a way. And when we cope, that can cause us a lot of time lost, a lot of wasted energy, maybe brain fog. There are also healthier ways of coping, but we also want to create an environment where the stress is minimal. It's still there, but it's minimal. We want eustress. If you've heard of this concept before, there is 2 different types of stress. Distress, which is stress coming from a very negative source. Stress that is pushing you in a way that it doesn't need to. And then there is eustress, stress that is positive, stress that makes you get the thing done, reach the deadline, achieve. Eustress is going to push you towards healthier options for coping, healthier ways of achieving the thing, where distress is going to push you away from actually taking step into doing the thing because you have so much fear built around it. It is a skill that we have to learn to tackle stress head on, because the things that we want to achieve, if we have a mindset of achieving big things, those things are going to be stressful. Those things are not going to feel comfortable walking into them, and we have to be able to brute force through that feeling each time. It's a skill that we can learn, just walking through that stress and getting on the other side of it and seeing all the benefits that we achieve just from being on the other side. So, breaking down our tasks, our goals that we have in life into smaller and smaller pieces until we find that basis of, okay, I do this action on this day and that's going to lead me to achieving this. That's all we have to do. Now, this is a process of taking that action and saying, okay, what am I actually trying to achieve here? Sometimes we don't have the goal as clear as we think we have it, and we need to clear it up a little more. If you have a goal of getting better at running, well, what does that actually mean? Why do you want to get better at running? Is that to improve your stamina or your speed? Is that to win a specific race? What is the actual motivation behind it? And then once you get to that, you can question that again. Okay, you're wanting to get better at running because you're running a marathon. Well, why are you running a marathon? What is the motivation behind achieving a marathon run? What is beneath it and beneath it? And then you'll finally get to a point where you can't go any deeper, where you have found the actual surface level of, okay, I want to get better at running because I know that directly benefits me health-wise, and I want to live a longer, happier life. Boom, it's as simple as that. Okay, then that helps us decide that we don't need to become an athletic, or we don't need to become the top Olympic athlete in running. That's not our goal. We don't need to run like David Goggins, because maybe at a certain extent that's pushing past our goal of becoming healthier. We have this set of intentions behind every single thing that we do, and we need to figure out what those are. Why are we doing this? Because we have the achievement, but there is a reason behind every achievement. I'm learning side splits right now, but truthfully, the actual act of being able to achieve the side splits is not something that I will ever need to use in life. But the flexibility that I gain from such achievement is going to help me in a multitude of areas. Every time I bend down to pick something up, every time that I'm outside, I am avoiding a risk of injury by a great margin because my muscles are more flexible and strong in those ranges of motion. While the actual achievement of side splits might not ever come in handy in day-to-day life, all of the benefits that come from being able to achieve that thing help me at every single moment. That is why I am doing it, because I want a healthier, more bulletproof body. Not because I'm trying to become a gymnastics artist or Olympic athlete and I'm trying to perfect this move, but simply because I want the strength. I also want to do the move because it looks cool, but that isn't the main reason. That isn't the whole focus. If I was only looking at doing cool looking moves, well, I could probably choose something else. I would have a different way of training. But because I'm focusing on flexibility in the sense that it is going to help me in a lifelong way, I need to train for that specifically. Yeah. Today has been interesting, and the fact that I'm talking about this because I experienced this. I had stress this morning over some things, and I sat down. I took 30 minutes to simplify them, to figure out, okay, what am I actually stressing about? And it turns out over very little that the things that I had built up as this big giant monster were unveiled, and it is simply, I need to show up and do actions every day. I have a list now of what I need to do, and as long as I am following that list, well, I don't have to fear this monster because that monster doesn't exist. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of time, 15, 30 minutes, to simplify things, to get a plan, to know what you're trying to do in life. Excuse me. And that takes away so much stress, so much... Sorry, I think I might have swallowed a mosquito out here. So much stress, so much time that you could be wasting procrastinating. I think procrastination is probably the biggest coping mechanism when it comes to stressful situations like this. We jump straight into not doing the thing or doing other things that aren't the thing. And we can just continue this process over and over and over again. So we want to be able to first be conscious. Okay, my life is stressful. Be honest with yourself. Okay, I'm feeling stress right now. Instead of fighting that, instead of pushing through it, I'm going to make sure that this stress is actually valid. And I would say in probably 9 out of 10 cases, it's not. That it is a made-up monster that you can unveil, demask like they do in Scooby-Doo, and say, hey, this is just a guy. I can handle that. This isn't Frankenstein. This isn't a werewolf. It's just a dude in a mask. And I can handle a dude in a mask. By golly, I sure can. And so figure out how